All right, welcome back to the Artist Connection podcast. This is Matt Kesar here with today's very special guest, Jax. Welcome.
Hi. Hi, how are you?
Oh, great. So happy to have you here.
Thanks for having me. This is awesome.
Yeah. Well, we were just talking about before we hit record here that you're from the East Coast, but you just left a couple days ago to go out to sunny Los Angeles just before the big winter storm. So good timing
Yep.
there.
I'm walking around outside in my short sleeves right now.
Oh, my God.
It's just awesome. I feel great. I'm so sorry, East Coast, but it kind of feels good.
Now, are you still mostly based out of the East Coast? Do you travel back and forth? Where do you spend the most amount of time?
I probably spend most of my time in New York, but I'm back and forth for sure.
Oh, okay, nice.
Yeah.
Do you have any preference? I know Los Angeles, you get out there for your music and for your career and things, but do you have a preference between the two?
I really like Nashville for sure.
Oh.
But I between Los Angeles and I think I'll always be New York in my heart.
Yeah.
I mean, it's obviously the weather's nice, but something about a lot of things about New York I just am in love with. So.
I never made it to California. That's one place that's on my wish list. I've been to, Seattle and a lot of different places in between, but I just never made it to Los Angeles. But that's definitely a dream of mine.
No, California, you gotta get out here. It's cool.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's totally different, but it's really cool.
So there's so many things I want to talk to you about, and as well as being sensitive to your time. I know you're a very busy lady here, but your brand new single is out, La La Land.
Yeah.
Which I love. Great song.
Thank you.
It talks a lot about the trappings of of stardom and the things that maybe you don't know that go on behind the scenes, and I'm always fascinated by that because we admire people on television and we admire musicians and things, but a lot of times don't take into account not only what that lifestyle is to you or the amount of work that goes into it.
Right. Yeah, no, it's been like a really, really crazy ride this year. I could never have prepared for it, even if I tried. I always in the beginning of everything, I was trying I worked really hard. I did everything I possibly could to be ready for it, and it's just another world that you just kind of have to ride the wave and work really hard and see what happens and deal with it as it comes. But yeah, I mean, I wrote La La Land as honest as I could possibly be about my experience and my journey, and I'm an honest songwriter. Always as an artist, I've been pretty. I mean, I spill out my guts onto paper and my heart, and I really do connect with the fans, and I'm very honest with the fans. And it was just a time. I mean, it was closure for me more than anybody else.
Right.
But it just conveniently people ended up liking it, and it connected. I connected with a lot of other reality show kids and kids out in LA. Just people being like, "Oh my gosh, you actually wrote about everything I've always been feeling my whole life." And I was like, "Wow, that makes me feel really, really good that I triggered something, But yeah, I mean, I'm so grateful for this experience in the last year. There's a lot that I had to get out, and get off my chest.
Well, it's good you did, and it's good you have the platform to do that. And I see from looking at your bio and your resume and things, you've been at this for quite some time. Since a young age, you've been a performer and you've been a songwriter. So being up in front of people isn't the issue, I would imagine. You're a performer.
It's different.
It's different though, right?
Yeah, much different. I've performed in front of massive crowds before. I played at Nassau Coliseum when I was really young.
Right.
I did all Bamboozle and the Warped Tours, and they were huge crowds. But national television and just television in general is just a so different ball game. I've never felt that kind of nerves in my life. It wasn't even the human how nervous and shaky and freaked out you get, because you have 90 seconds to kill it and do the best you possibly can and show the best of you in 90 seconds. So everything is down to the last little detail, and the cameras and looking into the red light is over here, now it's over here, and the staging, it's all really, really, it's way harder, especially when you have J-Lo 10 feet away from you. That doesn't necessarily help the nerves, but it was really a great learning process. I definitely learned a lot as far as that goes. Really different, though. I don't think anything could have prepared me for it, like I said.
Well, that's what I always wondered. No matter how much experience people bring into that forum, and no matter what your background is, it just must get in your head, no matter if you try to not let it. But I mean, just being in front of the cameras and being in front of the celebrities and things like that, and then being scrutinized, and then, by the way, being scrutinized by the public online afterwards, which is a whole other layer of stuff you probably weren't used to.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I tried not to read the comments.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And I did really well. I'm proud of myself this season. I don't think I could have gone as far as I did if I read the comments. So I'm happy I didn't.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, it's definitely another level of anxiety.
I bet.
Yeah, no, but the judges, I mean, we didn't really get to know them, but they were fine. It was, I mean, it's just obviously just nerve-wracking.
Well, congratulations on how far you went in that competition, and obviously,
Thank you.
well deserved. I'm a fan of the show. I've been since the early days of the show, and
Yeah.
I admire anybody that can keep going week after week after week. And it's funny how the show is so polarizing for a lot of people, especially people in the music community. There's people that love it, obviously, and are involved in it, but then there's other people who are detractors, and this show American Idol can do nothing right. It's just it's funny how it
Right.
polarizes the group.
Yeah, no, it's obviously a legendary show. It changed the music business and the TV business.
Yeah, it sure did.
I mean, it was on for a very long time, 15 years.
Yeah.
That's a lot.
Yeah, it sure is.
Yeah, I mean, it was, and you felt that. It was just, again, nothing that you really could expect and prep for. It was just
Right.
the behind the scenes is totally different. And, I mean, it's very intimate. I made the best friends and family of my life. Seriously. Like, I'm not exaggerating.
Nice.
But yeah, because you only deal with that with those people, and all of a sudden that's just a relationship. Even if you didn't want to be connected with these people, you have no choice because they're the only people that can relate to you. You know?
Right.
So like, there was never really any sense of that kind of competition. People always ask that, and it was never like that.
You didn't feel that it wasn't bloodthirsty behind the
No,
scenes,
we were all just so tired. We were so tired and exhausted, and then we were all just we actually kind of just probably supported each other. Like, we would take power naps together all, it's like kind of like that.
Well,
yeah.
I also
we kind of knew it was out of our hands, at that point. There's a lot of people that are making the calls, and we just have to just roll with the punches, I don't think it has anything to do with us and like competing and things like that. It wasn't like that. It was totally out of our hands.
Well,
once you learn to accept that, you're good.
Oh, yeah. I wanted to say your song selection blew me away throughout the season as well. You seem to have, and I don't know what that's like behind the scenes either, if they suggest things to you, but the songs that were selected that you performed were spot on for you.
Oh, thanks. I mean, I did my best to make good calls. Again, I mean, it's not always in my control.
Right.
There's a lot that goes into it, a lot of clearance stuff, a lot of things on production's end. It's like a lot of thought goes into it, and there's a lot of different higher-ups that you have to deal with.
Sure.
And, I mean, it's one of those things where it's like they did give us a lot of creative control, which is good, because I think they encouraged it. It was good for the show. Sorry if you hear that.
That's okay. Yeah.
It was really great, though. I'm happy overall with the set list and the monthly set list. Yeah, it was good, though. I had fun rearranging things, and it was stressful, but it was a good stress.
Well, your version of You Give Love a Bad Name was really nice. I'm a Bon Jovi fan from way back. I mean, the New Jersey connection.
New Jersey.
The timing, 1987 is when I graduated high school, so that was when, that album was huge, that song and that just everything about that. So when someone comes along X amount of years later and not only performs it, but puts their own spin on it, I always appreciate that.
Right. Thank you. That's awesome. It's obviously like all the Jerseyans were like really excited. Just Bon Jovi in general rocks.
Yeah.
Total icon. Made me feel like a Jersey girl. But no, I mean, it did. But it was good. I had a good time with that one. The jacket on that one was the best part. How they put the graffiti on the jacket and
nice.
the piano. It was just all really visually very cool. So, and the mohawk thing.
Yeah, very good. And of course, your duet with Steven Tyler for the Janis Joplin song "Piece of My Heart" was just blew everybody away.
Oh, thank you. I love Steven. He's the best. We had such a good time.
Was that nerve-wracking at all? Like when you were that close performing like that? It wasn't. You looked very comfortable.
I was. That's the funny part. I always I talk about it with my dad all the time. I'm like, dude, could you imagine like a year ago how freaked out I would be if somebody told me I was going to go on national television and perform with Steven Tyler? I would be like on total vocal rest, like eating like everything perfectly and having some weird keys and herbal expectorants and vocalizing every 2 minutes, but after it was a pretty traumatic 48 hours. So at that point, I just had all kinds of emotions running through me, and nerves were never even an issue after getting eliminated. I was just like in another